What's good, Jackson Kruger sports fans? It's your boy Deb back with another video. And in today's playoff preview, it'll be the number 4 seed versus the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference, which is the Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. They played 3 times this year. They'll be playing a 4th, I think, tomorrow, and it'll be after this video drop. So we'll just talk about the 3 games that's happened already. The first game was on December 27th, where the Heat won 113-112, and Goran Dragic hit a game winner that game. On January 8th was the second game, and the Heat won 122 to the Pacers 108. It was a big game from Sabonis, but Sabonis won't be playing for the Pacers in the playoffs. And they still lost that game even with Sabonis. And then the last game was just like last week on August 10th, where the Heat won 114-92. The Heat had a 37-point third quarter, and it really just opened up the floodgates for them. Now let's get into the starting lineups for both teams, and we'll start with the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat start with a point guard named Kendrick Nunn that really no one knew about until this year. He was drafted in 2018. He's 6'2". He averages 15 points this year, 3 assists and 3 rebounds, and is a knockdown shooter, an athletic player, and a player that you want on your team. Jimmy Butler, just like Kendrick Nunn, is a hard worker, a dude that plays defense. You give him the ball and you can get out the way, and he'll make something happen for the Heat. He's their best player. Duncan Robinson is a 3-point lights out shooter. You can't give him any space or he's going to knock down that shot. He averaged 14 points and 3 rebounds this year. He's made 273 pointers. I think, that's first in the league. And then at the power forward spot, they have Myles Leonard, who's a stretch the floor player, and he plays defense. That's what you're going to see in a lot of these Miami Heat players. They have that culture of just demanding the utmost of all of their players on their team. Playing defense, playing offense, doing whatever it takes to win the game. And then at the 5 spot, they have one of the most improved players this year, and Bam Adebayo, who's averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's one of 2 centers to be averaging 5 or more assists, him and Jokic. So then let's get to the Indiana Pacers now. So the Indiana Pacers, at the center spot, they'll be having Miles Turner to guard Bam Adebayo. They're both really kind of the same player. I just think Bam has developed a little bit faster in his career, especially getting drafted after Miles, or a couple years after Miles. So Miles averages 12 points and 6 rebounds. He's he's an athletic player. He moves well on his feet. He can step behind the arc and knock down that 3. And then at the power forward spot, without Sabonis, who averaged 18 points and 12 rebounds for them, they slide TJ Warren up to that spot at the power forward spot, and he's averaging 20 points and 4 rebounds. He's had a 50-point game in the bubble this year, he's had a 30-point game in the bubble this year. So they're going to really need him to show out in this series to have a chance against the Heat. At the 3 spot, they move Victor Oladipo up to that 3 spot, or they might have Justin Holiday at this spot and have Victor still play at that shooting guard spot. But we really don't know until the playoffs happen and we get to see what Nate McMillan wants the Pacers to come out in. So like I said, Victor Oladipo will be at this 3 spot. He'll probably be guarding a lot of Duncan Robinson, a lot of Jimmy Butler, especially Jimmy Butler. He's a athletic guard. He can create for himself. After his injury, coming back this year, he's not done what we're used to seeing from Victor, but he still showed that he's a above average player in this league. Then that brings us to Malcolm Brogdon. He'll be playing that point guard or that shooting guard spot. Malcolm is a defensive player. He's not athletic at all, but he finds a way to get players open. He finds a way to get himself open, and he's a knockdown shooter from deep. He averages 16 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. And then we don't know, like I said, if it'll be Justin or Aaron Holiday playing that point, or getting that final starting spot in the lineup. But if Aaron Holiday is that starter, I'll let you know his stats, and he averages 9 points and 3 assists. Now, the Pacers were bottom 10 in the league in points per game. They only averaged 109 points per game, while the Heat were 15th in the league, averaging 112. The Pacers aren't really an offensive team. They're a defensive team that likes to grit and grind the game out the way. and they are third in the league in points scored on them a game, giving up 107, while the Heat are giving up 109, which is 15th in the league. And the key reason why I have the Heat winning this series 4-2 is, like I said, because of Sabonis. Sabonis is you could really say Sabonis is the Indiana Pacers' best player on a decent amount of nights. He averaged 18 points a game, which I said it was second on the team. And then he averaged 12.4 rebounds a night, and that was number 1 on the team. So without Sabonis, the Pacers are going to struggle very, very, very much on the defensive glass. They don't even have a player on their team that averages more than 7 rebounds right now without Sabonis. So I could see that being a very bad struggle, or a very key struggle. If they want any chance to win this series, TJ Warren and Victor Oladipo are going to have to show out and become stars. Or they're going to have to become the best player one of them are going to have to become the best player on the court other than Jimmy Butler. This is the only way for the Pacers. Why I have the Heat winning in a 4-2 series, it's really because of these 3 things, and it's culture. Like I said earlier, they demand the utmost from every player on their team. Every player must play defense. Every player must just do their role. The second thing is there's no home court advantage. So every game is played in this bubble, so there's no screaming fans for you have to go on the road. And with the Heat having a young team, they struggled on the road this year. They only went 14-19 on the road. And on the road, young players, they just don't know what spots to be in. They can get distracted by the crowd easily and certain things like that. It's just funny to look at their defense on the at home and on the road. They're 27-5 at home and then 14-19 on the road. And them being in this bubble, this really helps them out. And then the third reason is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is a player you want on your team. He shows up at practice at 10 a.m. and practice doesn't start until 3:30 p.m. That just rubs off on the younger teammates and gets everybody on that bandwagon. And then the last thing is the coach, Erik Spoelstra. And I'll just get to both coaches here. Erik Spoelstra is 71-47 in the playoffs with a .602 winning percentage. He won 2 championships, albeit it was with LeBron, but he still won 2 championships, so he's been there, he's experienced, he knows what he's doing. And then he has the leadership of Pat Riley to go ask him a few questions if he needs it. He's lost 2 championships as well, so he has that feeling of losing in the playoffs, and I know he doesn't want that again. And then that'll bring us to Nate McMillan. Now, Nate is an underrated coach in this league. You have to go back since 1989 that the Pacers drafted before pick number 10. So they never tank. They're never a losing team. Nate McMillan is 17-32 in the playoffs, and they have that same culture almost as the Heat, as you play defense and then you hope for the best, and then you just live with the results. Now let's get to the benches of both teams, and the Heat have a much deeper bench as well. Their 6th man off the bench is Tyler Hero, who averages 14 points and 4 rebounds this year. We have a breakdown on this channel if you want to go check that out. You could say the best player on their bench is Goran Dragic now. He averages 16 points and 5 rebounds, or 5 assists, who's a really good point guard in this league, who could start on a few teams, but the Heat have him come off the bench, being that scoring option off the bench. Then they go with Jay Crowder, who is a defensive, a 3-and-D player who averages 10 points, 6 rebounds. Derrick Jones Jr., who is an athletic beast. I think he won the dunk contest, or he came in second in the dunk contest. I know he did win the dunk contest due to Dwayne Wade. Solomon Hill, who's another 3-and-D player. Andre Iguodala is another 3-and-D player. They both average 5 points and 4 assists. And then their big man off the bench is Kelly Olynyk. Now, the Pacers bench is not deep at all. They come out with a shooting guard named Jeremy Lamb, who's their scorer off the bench, who averages 12 points, 4 rebounds. Doug McDermott is another 3-point shooter on their bench that you can't leave too much space. He averages 10 points and 2 rebounds. They have TJ McConnell, who averages 6 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds, who's a hustle player on the floor, and I really like to watch him play. TJ Leaf is their big man off the bench, who averages 3 points and 2 rebounds. And then Jakar Sampson, who has actually played really well in this bubble, where they're 5-2. Now, like I said, I have this series 4-2 Miami Heat. If you think I'm wrong, if you think the Pacers can somehow win this series, go ahead down in the comments and let me know. If you think the series will end 4-3, if you think it'll be a sweep 4-0, go ahead, let me know. Let me know who you think will win the NBA Finals. Hit that sub to my boy Jackson's channel. Hit that sub to my channel at Break It Down Dev. Go ahead and share this video with your Heat and your Pacers friends. And with that being said, have a blessed day.